breaking news. Gallup just dropped their latest State of the Global Workplace report. And if you think your organization is the exception, you're probably wrong. Because according to Gallup, 20% of employees globally are engaged at work. That is literally 4 out of 5 employees are simply disconnected or completely checked out of work. So the real question isn't, is this happening? The real question is, why are we acting surprised? Let's just be real about this. The reality is, this is not an employee motivation issue. We're dealing with full-on system failure. And to get to the resolution, we need to be aware. So what else does this report show? This report shows that engagement is once again at a decline for the second year in a row. So we didn't learn anything from last year. This year, we're still declining on the side of engagement. The second thing is that there's employee well-being still under siege, under threat, and it's still declining. And guess what is at an all-time high? Stress levels are shooting through the roof in those statistical reports. And yet organizations are still responding with the same surface level solutions. More surveys, more perks, more conversations about culture without actually solving it. And here's the interesting factor. I recently posted an article in Forbes regarding signs that are warning leaders to make changes so that they don't find themselves in toxic work cultures. Well, what Gallup has just recently produced in terms of the data response speaks exactly to what happens when organizations do not pay attention to the warning signs. Here's what I see happening every day in organizations. Employees aren't disengaged. They've adapted. They know when to speak up and when not to. They know what amount of work is safe enough just to get through and not necessarily thrive. And high performers, they're overcompensating. Managers, they're overwhelmed, stressed, overloaded, and unaligned. And leadership, they're quite frankly taking silence as a signal that they're aligned, when that couldn't be further from the truth. So what needs to change? First on the list, fix your managers. Your managers need support and they need to be equipped with the appropriate tools. That same statistic I shared with you about engagement, the greatest contributing factor to the lower levels of engagement is management. It was management last year and it is management this year. So leadership focus, leadership development, leadership coaching, appropriate tools to ensure that your managers are successful. That is critical to the game. We need to stop measuring culture and doing absolutely nothing with the data. What are you doing with the data when you receive it? What is the surveys telling you and what have you done differently to result in a change or positive outcome? We need to stop talking about and bragging about the fact that we are doing surveys and start to show and prove where we are making that survey count. If you don't have the insight to understand what's the next step, seek a consultant or insight to provide the direction to accomplish what it is that you need. And finally, recognize the warning signs early. Silence is not accomplishment. Burnout is not commitment. And your high performers that are overloading themselves and pushing forward to make things happen and still seem to be making things happen, that's not sustainable. That's a red flag that's eventually going to lead to their downfall or your organization being completely out and needing to seek proper resolution. This new data from Gallup isn't a surprise, but our lack of response, considering we had that clear decline last year, that speaks volumes. So whether you're a leader trying to fix the problem or you're an employee just trying to make sense of the culture that you're in, this conversation matters. And it will take full involvement of all parties to truly find a resolution that works, something that we can be consistent with and that we no longer brag about what we're doing, but show what we've actually done. If this resonates with you, then follow along because this is exactly the type of work I do. And trust me when I say it, we are just getting started.